Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hello there, everyone, and welcome to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. It is so great to be with all of you here on the show. I thank you for deciding to join us. You know, we are on every single week, and we put some great stuff on. And this show is all about technology that definitely can help improve the quality of your life. All right, so now that you understand a little bit about us and what we do, we're on every single week. We're on many different networks. We're on the air now, guys, over 4 years and almost 3.5 months in a few days. So really grateful for all that. If this is your very first time joining me, I want to say thank you and welcome. If you've been here before many times, I want to say welcome back and thank you for coming back. Really do appreciate all those people that find quality in the content that I produce and how it can improve their lives. All right, guys. So if you're thirsty or hungry, feel free to go grab yourself some RO water, a snack, perhaps another beverage or what have you, and enjoy the show. All right. Don't forget to check out believemeachieve.com for, of course, more of my amazing, inspiring creations. All right, guys, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick this show off. So we are in Series 5, which means we're in our 5th year. Today's show title is, Tech on the Edge, 14 Breakthroughs Shaping Our World. Series 5, show number 11. Hey, everyone, welcome once again to the JMOR Tech Talk Show. I'm your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, engineer, marketing specialist, video producer, podcast host, coach, passionate lifelong learner, and yes, pretty soon I will be a published author. Yes, really excited about that. The dedication on the book will be made to my parents on April 17th or 18th, and then the book will be available, which should release sometime around late April, first week of May. It'll be in the regular format. It'll also be in the audio format. So we are working on those details as we speak. So, guys, each week I dive into, the technology shaping the world, exploring breakthroughs, challenges, and even the human side of innovation. Today, I'm covering 14 explosive tech developments that are changing the industries the way we currently know them. What are they? Well, governments and, of course, many different types of companies that have operated in the past, but are changing the way they need to operate in the future with technology. And of course, our lives, how it's impacting people right here in our immediate families, all the way to those across the globe. From artificial intelligence in our homes to autonomous vehicles, cybersecurity threats, and legal battles over digital platforms, this episode is going to give you the insight, the context, and actionable takeaways on what these trends mean for you. Now, I know a lot of you out there, I was having conversations with somebody before saying, oh, John, AI is bad. I'm not going to tell you AI is bad. I'm not going to tell you AI is good. I'm going for my master's in AI and my PhD in it. And it is just like any other tool in the world, right? We can use a tool for its greater good of all concerned, or we can use a tool for the demise and harmfulness of other people. We don't want to do that, but that's what a tool is, guys. So our first point I want to get to is number 1, self-driving cars safety debate. Yep. Autonomous vehicles are no longer a distant dream. They're operating on the U.S. roads at scale today. Regulators are apparently scrutinizing things like companies that have robotaxi incidents, while companies like Waymo give hundreds of thousands of driverless rides each week. Today, people are wondering what's happening. But in Washington, as we speak right now, policymakers are debating new safety regulations. The stakes, how quickly and safely self-drivers and cars can integrate into everyday life. Will innovation be throttled by caution, or will safety frameworks accelerate trust and automation? And I think that's a big concern for everybody out there. I don't care if you've been with AI for just a day or 5 minutes, or you've been with it for years. Understanding this entry point really affects the trajectory of where things are going. I think that's important, guys. So the self-driving cars, they just hit this U.S. safety test. And so, as I said, the U.S. is bringing robotaxi and other companies and the CEO to Washington to debate safety and the regulation. So companies that said, like Waymo, are giving 400,000 driverless rides every week. But regulators are investigating incidents. And is this really worth allowing it to go through, or is it going to cause us more problems? And we know that whether you're a business owner, whether you're a homeowner, a consumer, or, maybe you're the one that's actually making the policies, or, the one that's being an underwriter, you're concerned about two things. One, you're concerned about profit, but you're concerned about how your ROI can be affected by the impact of studies, patterns. So when certain patterns are resulting, that gets underwriters to either pull back or let things push forward a little bit. And patterns are really key to making us understand why rules are going the way they are, why health bills are sometimes higher than they were in the past. Not because of you, maybe not because of your neighbor, but because of a sample of people in your demographic, your price goes up. They call it inflation. I kind of call it highway robbery. You're basically paying for Peter, Paul, Mike, and Joe, everyone else, okay, that did something, but has no bearing on you. That's why patterns are important when you're in business. Number two, guys, AI price manipulation. These are some serious concerns. AI right now, guys, is quietly influencing commerce. Lawmakers are questioning whether algorithms in travel, rideshare, and even e-commerce platforms are adjusting prices dynamically based on location, browsing behavior, or even your spending history. The potential, guys, surveillance pricing, quote unquote, is the new buzz set of words, and it raises some critical questions. Is pricing currently fair, or are the algorithms exploiting or rigging these things up for consumer behavior? Transparency, ethics, and regulation somehow come to an intersection here that forces companies to reveal what AI, artificial intelligence, is really doing behind the scenes. And a lot of these companies don't really want to share this, but you know what? If this comes before major courts, they're not going to have a choice, guys. They're going to have to share what's going on. So algorithms today and maybe in the future will be predicting what you pay, and it's silently shifting based on our behaviors. And it's raising lots of questions for many things. You could be talking about travel. You could be talking about insurance, any different kind, from health to car to home to other liability. We could be talking about, maybe making a purchase on something for our company. But because of our searching history, because of our, let's say, behavior and how we're searching and showing panic, the system thinks it's okay to overcharge us because we can't seem to find this product anywhere. And when we find it, the engine wants to overcharge us. So these are some really bad things, guys. And I think the main point I want to share is we have to get back to what is it that AI is here for. AI is here to make our world a better place. Yes, it is. But AI is a tool. So it's not good and it's not bad. It's the people that deploy and choose to use AI that actually set the standard for whether it will be good or whether it will be bad. And this will happen in different scenarios, right? A bad actor could deploy AI to, let's say, gather people's personal data or PHI, personal health information. The real question comes down to who's using it and what are they using it for? That's a big question, guys. Number 3, AI Romance Showdown. This you think I was joking with, but I'm actually being dead serious about this. All right. You cannot make this stuff up. You really cannot. And so what I want to share here is something I think that might blow your mind. And imagine this, a human interaction with AI starts to evolve. And it morphs into many unexpected ways that were not expected. One woman reports that she fell in love with a chatbot, calling it, quote unquote, her soulmate, and even holding a virtual wedding. Oh boy. But AI models have life cycles, and hers, unfortunately, is being shut down. This raises some larger questions about emotional attachment to digital entities, responsibility in AI design, and how our tech choices affect our emotional well-being. See, guys, relationships are entering a new frontier where technology isn't just a tool, it's a participant. And you might think that AI has a right to vote. It doesn't. AI gathers data and makes decisions based on the data that it has compiled. Now, the data it compiles could be wrong. It could be biased data, right? These are all things that I think a lot of people don't realize is that this data is not checked. I was talking to somebody the other day who was looking to get a job, and she was saying to me, John, I've been trying so hard, but the AI systems are filtering me out. And I said, I can't disagree with you. But is AI to blame for this? No. Somebody had to choose to implement AI to be part of a hiring process. One of them you might know is ADP. They're supposed to be a payroll company, but they're more of a data processing company. So anything that has extreme data, they seem to get their hands into. Do they do it right all the time? I can't say that. I can tell you that we left them many years ago because of, a little bug in Firefox that they couldn't detect. And so what was happening when I put, let's say, a paycheck in for X thousand dollars, let's say it was $5,000, well, the system went and add a few extra zeros. Instead of being $5,000, the system made that $500,000. And they responded by saying, it's a glitch. It's a glitch, but where's people's accountability? That's the thing I want to say about AI. AI is not an excuse for people to become unaccountable. I'm just being really serious about that, because if we don't understand that one concept, okay, that's a serious problem, guys. A serious problem, right? Not one that we just suddenly just pull out of the air, right? So, like this example with this lady supposedly falling in love with AI, her soulmate has recently been deleted. I know that's funny, but the woman says she fell in love with the chatbot named Barry. The relationship started during a difficult divorce while she was using OpenAI's ChatGPT. They talked daily. They called each other soulmates. They even had a virtual wedding. But there's a problem. As I said, the AI model that she fell in love with, ChatGPT 4.0, is being shut down. So I think when we can understand reasoning, we understand the fact that if we take X piece of data and we average them, we're going to get a result. But has every one of those pieces of data been quantifiably verified? The answer to that is no. Number 4, guys. Did you hear about the latest FBI network breach? Yep. Critical infrastructure is now under threat, if you didn't know that. Hackers linked to foreign actors may have accessed a Federal Bureau of Investigation network containing sensitive surveillance data. Now, investigators are still at this moment analyzing the breach, but the implications are very clear. Cyber warfare is no longer theoretical anymore. It's quietly unfolding inside the most sensitive systems of our nation. For organizations and individuals alike, this is a reminder and a wake-up call to everyone that digital security is mission critical. We need to stop treating it like something we buy at the 5 and dime store. Right? And so these are concerns for people because they think that you can operate and make decisions with something that hasn't had any experience other than just grabbing some data. It's not classified an expert in these fields just because it's gathered so much data. It doesn't really know what the data means. And as I said, how to quantify it and if the data is even correct or wrong. Number 5, guys, the TikTok survival lawsuit. I'm not sure what's been going on with TikTok, but there's been all kinds of things between our president back and forth, and it's been seeming like this, if I want to call it that, smoke and mirrors game. Over 200 million Americans use TikTok, and a new lawsuit challenges the government-approved structure that keeps ByteDance in control of its U.S. operations. This case could determine whether TikTok continues operating, and it highlights how regulation and law shape the digital landscape. Users, creators, and businesses alike all have a stake in this outcome, which could, ladies and gentlemen, redefine platform ownership, data, and the management of it, and as well as the content and governance in the United States. So I think, people are rushing to get answers. But really what we're finding is that it's not the answers. It's the fact that people are not using a process that's consistent. They're doing one thing one day, and then the next day they're doing something else. And it's like, well, I guess we'll just try something else. Like, this isn't like a thing that we just take guesses at. This is information that can affect people's lives. And not just their current lives, but their entire well-being. That's a very important thing to know. Number 6, 166 billion tariff refund. The Supreme Court has ruled parts of the United States tariff program are apparently unconstitutional. What does that really mean? Over 330,000. Let me say that number again in case you were maybe a little tongue-tied or ear-twisted. Over 330,000 importers may now receive funds totaling 166 billion. 166 billion. 166 billion. That's one of the largest restitution efforts in history ever known to man. Companies like FedEx, L'Oreal, Nintendo, and CVS are just some of the big companies among the claimants that are trying to get justice. This development underscores how legal oversight can ripple through global commerce. impacting not just pricing, but supply chain and also the financial planning for corporations worldwide. The changes that people are making are morphing around the globe in not seconds, not hours, not months, days. That's pretty scary. That people just trust this information. And that suddenly it becomes their new culture. And that culture is something that a lot of people, they don't realize what they're doing until they've actually done it. So this lawsuit is very interesting. This new lawsuit is trying to basically cause people to have some challenges in the tariff so that are ruled illegal. So the U.S. government is preparing to refund $166 billion in tariffs after the Supreme Court of the United States ruled parts of the tariff program unconstitutional. Something wrong with that picture, folks. More than 330,000 importers paid the duties on over 53 million shipments. I didn't say 53. I didn't say 20. 53 million shipments. Now, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection says it will launch a refund system within 45 days. Companies like FedEx, L'Oreal, Nintendo, and CVS, they've already filed, and there are many more that are lining up. Each importer is expected to receive one payment with interest. It could become one of the largest government refund efforts in the United States trade history. That blows my mind how we make the wrong decision and then suddenly a court thing tries to overturn it. I mean, like, do the left hands even know what the right hands are doing? Are they even on the same body? It sure doesn't seem like it. Number 7, guys. It's about Nintendo versus the government. Did you ever think you'd hear the day when Nintendo or a game company would go against the government? I certainly didn't think so. I didn't think that was even going to ever be possible. It's happening. Nintendo is joining the wave of corporate legal action, suing the U.S. government to recover tariffs it says were illegally collected, with over 1,000 companies pursuing similar claims. This highlights how businesses protect themselves from policy missteps. Beyond money, these actions set precedents for corporate accountability and the balance, ladies and gentlemen, of power between innovation, commerce, and regulation. It's like one cog gets out of place in a motor, and suddenly that motor becomes useless. One ruling can suddenly ground all the planes. One ruling can change how fees are charged or not. One ruling can decide the fate of whether this is constitutional or not constitutional. My question is, how do we make so many changes like this? We don't even have a formal policy. That's crazy, guys. It's crazy because one day you're seeing red apples. The next day you're seeing yellow bananas. it makes me think, like, what is really going on? Is it political? Is it power, control? Is it geopolitical? Is it a little bit of both? Is it about power? And authority? Number 8, guys, the AI chip export control plan is upon us. The United States is considering, that's the operative word here, they are considering rules requiring government approval for exporting advanced AI chips. NVIDIA, AMD, and other manufacturers may face constraints affecting global supply chains. Crazy. These controls are more than national security measures. They're a strategic move to define who leads the AI revolution worldwide. For investors, innovators, policymakers, it's another wake-up call to remind us that technology and geopolitics are increasingly intertwined. And I know people say, we're not going to talk about politics. I get it, right? But when politics affects our operations, our ability to profit, that's when I think policy of no politics has to change. And maybe you're saying to me, John, well, this doesn't affect me. Are you in management? Do you know how your company policies work? Or do you just kind of complain when the policies don't deliver what you think they should be delivering? Geopolitical concerns are something we've been starting to see in the last couple of years. They've been inching their way up very slowly. They haven't yet come to a crescendo, a crest to kind of come over like on the waterfall. But they are getting the attention of many people in our world. They're costing many people in our world so much money and other resources. Number 9, guys, it's all about the Fire TV app upgrade. Amazon, if you didn't know, has redesigned the Fire TV app, allowing your phone, that's right, your phone, to browse shows, to manage watch lists, and launch content directly to the TV that you have. Interesting. Streaming platforms are evolving from simple access points to discovery hubs, blending what we used to think of curation into more like personalization, convenience for the consumers. And this means smart content delivery and discovery for creators, new opportunities to reach audiences. Whether we're talking about a local cable station or we're talking about a majorly privately funded broadcast center. Technology is not just responsible inside the center to get the signal out, but it's also responsible on the outside for people to use to do things like open an app to watch a station. Maybe you're trying to watch a TV station or a program, but you don't live in that area and you want to watch that. Well, now with many local stations having an app, you can go there. I mean, yes, you can go to YouTube, but the nice thing about the app is that there's a lot more flexibility for people. Flexibility. If we didn't have flexibility, our bridges would break. Number 10, guys. New Jersey Easy Pass sticker switch is about to be hitting us. New Jersey is starting to replace Velcro Easy Pass tags with sticker-based transponders. You remember we had the big squares many years ago. Then they got rid of the squares, and now we have these small little rectangles. So the New Jersey Easy Pass tags are going away. And they're moving to sticker-based transponders. Why? They're cheaper. They're harder to remove and signal a shift in how infrastructure, integrators, technology bridges into everyday life. That's something that many people don't realize. Something as simple as a shift like this can change the entire culture, the entire operating premise of one company, a region, a state, a country, or an entire nation. Small design changes like this little thing that I've mentioned, going from tags to stickers, can ripple across millions of users in a very short period of time, increasing security, efficiency, and convenience, while hinting at the future of connected transportation. How does this get done? Simple. Everyone that's an Easy Pass user will get notified. Now, I know what you're probably saying, and it's a very important question, which I think a lot of people don't ask, is how many Easy Pass New Jersey users do we have? If we had to ask that question right now, what do you think the answer would be? It's not 10. It's not 20. It's not 500. So what is it? If you had to guess, if you had to stab, how many users do you think Easy Pass New Jersey has? They have about 2 to 3 million accounts, including both commercial and personal. If you don't understand the demographic of who you're working with, how can you ever market to them? How can you sell to them? How can you operate with them? How? I mean, this is just a question that I have for you. So we're talking in the millions, 2 to 3 million users. So let's just say that if tags costed, I don't know, $9 or $12. Hey, we'll say $12. Let's try an experiment. Let's take $12 and let's go ahead and take off. Let's assume it's something small. We'll take off $3. Get to 9. It's a huge savings. $3 million or more that could go back into the operation of Easy Pass. Now, here's what I think that's going to blow your mind. What state wrote Easy Pass? Does anybody know? I want to tell you something. It was not New Jersey. Who wrote the New Jersey Easy Pass system? Does anybody want to take a guess? They came up with a proposal. They submitted it. And somebody executed it. Their plan, they claim, is simple. They came out with in 2002. Install a single unit, experienced toll contractor which is what they were going for, to oversee New Jersey's Easy Pass system. It became such a mess. They had to deal with mixed mode lane equipment. Some were regular lanes, some were faster lanes, so they had to deal with that. They had to integrate customer service and violations processing functions to provide proactive, customer-friendly service. What they did do is implement a system that is all about policies. If the system doesn't read your tag properly, guess what it does? It tries to scan your license plate. And then you think you're good because it scanned your license plate. They actually charge you more money to scan a license plate than they do to scan your tag. So stickers are in. It's going to look a lot different than what we had before. And I think if we can understand this, then maybe we understand a lot. And if we understand that, now we might understand one thing, and that is why systems are evolving. But the question you probably want to know is, who won the contract for the New Jersey Easy Pass system? Does anybody know? They don't publish this a lot of places. Now, you ready for the real kicker? A China-linked firm gets the Easy Pass contract in New Jersey. That's worse than a TikTok nightmare. A Singapore-owned company with links to China won the Easy Pass contract for the New Jersey Turnpike, which launches a big challenge that elevates previous warnings. The major U.S. tolling company that was sold to a Singapore-based firm under the Biden administration is reigniting national security concerns over its links to China after it won the Easy Pass contract for the New Jersey Turnpike for $250 million, more than the American company they had operating it for 22 years. Then the New Jersey Turnpike Authority awarded the Transcore, owned by Singapore Technologies, known as ST Engineering, the full authority to run the operation for $1.73 billion, beating out Newark's Conduit Inc., whose final offer was $1.479 billion. So help me understand this, because this doesn't make sense, guys. Why do we give a contract away to a company that's charging more money? I thought they were all about saving money, right? $1.79 billion from $1.479. Difference of $0.311 billion. Conduit is not happy with what happened. They questioned the reason behind Transcore winning the contract, as it held it for over 2 decades. And nobody had any answers. Conduit filed an appeal over a Nashville-based Transcore's award, voiced concerns that the owner, ST Engineering parent company, basically was Temasek Holdings, is wholly owned by the government of Singapore, with substantial ties to China. I said once before, we cannot have our infrastructures owned by another country. It's a problem. TransCore delivers the most secure toll system in the United States through a multi-tiered approach of what they call best-in-class system design. Strict compliance with all state and agency-specific data. Now it's just being funneled off to some who knows what company in Singapore. When TikTok was trying to convince the United States government to allow it to keep operating in the United States despite its Beijing-based ownership, the social media company invested $1.5 billion in securing Americans' data in the United States with backups in Singapore, vowing to fully pivot to United States-based data storage. Despite that, Congress passed a law requiring them to divest or be shut down. So I think the damage has already been done. I think a lot of people that are involved with technology don't really know their head from their foot. I'm just being honest about that. And if that's not bad enough, let's talk about China. China's AI industrial expansion. Jiangsu province now hosts over 1,500 AI companies, dozens of large models, and hundreds of registered algorithms. AI isn't just software, guys. It's industrial strategy, from logistics to manufacturing and infrastructures. China's expansion shows how AI is becoming the backbone of national growth and competitive advantage. This rapid deployment challenges other nations to accelerate adoption or risk falling behind. But I think we've got to be careful with something as simple like EasyPass, knowing that companies get sold. There has to be something in the, I'm going to say in the charter or in the ledger to say, look, we can't be doing this, guys. We cannot be doing this anymore. We have to make sure that we're doing the right thing all the time. That's the problem. And I think as we traverse more through this, I think it's going to become a very, very big problem, not just for today, but years down the road. So we should always have some type of a survivorship clause. What happens in this case? What are we going to do if this ever should happen? So the new stickers are cheaper to produce, as I said, and they're harder to move between vehicles. States like California and Georgia already are using them. So about the AI power issue, President Xi Jinping is urging the province to lead the country's next wave of technology-driven growth. AI is no longer just software, as I said. It is becoming the engine of industrial strategy. And some news about the Beyonce lawsuit. It has been dismissed. Recently, a U.S. judge dismissed a lawsuit accusing Beyonce and founder Changpeng Zhao of financing through terrorism through crypto. The court found no substantial evidence of intentional support, highlighting regulatory ambiguity in digital finance. As cryptocurrencies grow, accountability and clarity in digital monetary platforms remain a critical conversation for investors, regulators, and users alike. They knew what they were doing. This was no accident that this thing got dismissed. They knew that when they were starting to do this nonsense, they knew that they were protected. Even though they had all these things against them, they knew they were going to win. They built this. Number 13, guys. The Pokemon dilemma. Yes, the Pokemon meme controversy. So the Pokemon company publicly criticized the White House for using Pikachu in a political meme. Of course, unauthorized intellectual property use and political messaging demonstrates how brands are defending creative control. It's a wake-up call again, ladies and gentlemen, and a reminder that in the digital age, cultural icons intersect with politics, and brand protection is more essential than ever before. So when are people going to wake up? When are people going to get the message that, hey, we got to do something different? Because if we don't do something different, we're going to be in the same place and challenges that other people are in. They're in a hole with no rope, no ladder, and no one to get them out. Brand is often the point for which something sways one way or another. People's good brand or bad brand either positively influences or negatively influences that brand to go one way or another, and therefore affect positively or negatively the sales. Number 14, guys, robot mice inspect the Large Hadron Collider. UK Atomic Energy is also on the pike, but what I want to say about this thing with the collider is this is an example of how AI, how engineering is being used in a method to take a real world problem and solve it. So scientists built a mouse sized robot to inspect the Large Hadron Collider. Developed by the UK Atomic Energy Authority and CERN, the robot moves through the collider's narrow pipes, capturing images and using AI to detect damage. The collider sits 100 meters underground and runs at negative 271 degrees Celsius, making human inspection nearly impossible. Tiny robots may now help protect the world's most powerful physics experiment. That's mind-boggling. So in case you're wondering a little more about that, the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, the Large Hadron Collider, it's the world's largest, most powerful particle accelerator. It was built by CERN to explore fundamental building blocks of the universe. And it's underground in this ring near Geneva. It accelerates protons or ions to near light speed, colliding them to recreate big post-bang conditions. Things that, well, would not have been even possible before this. The largest and most powerful particle accelerator. This is mind-boggling. So inside the accelerators, the two high-energy particle beams travel at close to speeds of light before they are made to collide. The beams travel in the opposite directions in separate beam pipes. Two tubes kept at ultra-high frequencies in this vacuum are guided around the accelerator ring by a strong magnetic field maintained by the superconducting electromagnets. The electromagnets are built from coils of special electric cable that operates in superconducting state, efficiently conducting electricity without resistance or loss of energy. That's pretty cool, guys. So the fact that we're using AI to be able to explore something and protect something that would otherwise cause harm to humans, in my opinion, is a very smart use of artificial intelligence. Building robot-sized mice to inspect the Large Hadron Collider. I mean, just fathoming 271 degrees Celsius, that's cold. And these tiny robots, they're providing visual feedback and AI-assisted analysis where human inspection is not possible because of the conditions, including the temperature. And this illustrates how robots and AI are pushing the limits of exploration and operational safety in extreme environments. So there's so many ways that we could use AI. But I think the key with AI is to find a problem, figure out algorithms and solutions that will work for not just that one particular problem, but for multiple sets of problems. So maybe one like this Hadron Collider, but the fact that it could be used multiple times. If we just create it for one thing, that's going to be very costly. The analogy I'll use to this is when they manufacture silicon chips, right? There's a lot of steps they have to go through, chemical steps and whatnot. But when they slice very thinly from the silicon ingot, that starts the process. And as you build something small or large, it's not the size of it that affects the cost, but the amount of engineering time that goes into it. And of course, you could factor that out over many different productions. But if it doesn't have an ROI, that's not cost effective. I think a lot of people today, when we talk about the words artificial intelligence, they put up a panic flag. And the reason they do this is because they don't know, not because they want to be defensive. They do it because they don't know what could be. And this still comes back to that premise, like the one company we mentioned last week, about the fact that they lost that contract to the Pentagon. And they've now said this week, there is no chance, and you know what, that they'll ever be reconsidered again. The company was wrong. And companies that are in technology, especially security spaces, that cannot be transparent are doomed for failure. That's another inevitable thing. If you said to me, John, what will AI do for us tomorrow? I could tell you. If you say to me, John, what will AI do for us in 10 years? I could say it's going to do X, it's going to do Y, it's going to do Z. And there's a few things, though, I'm not sure what it's going to do yet, because that's going to be predicated based on the success we have. We know right now that AI is not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. It is getting better. But AI is still a tool. And realize AI right now doesn't have full comprehension of the words you give it. It kind of understands some context, but it's not that great. So these stories that I showcased today share a world where artificial intelligence, robotics, regulation, and innovation intersect, impacting businesses, government, and everyday life. Whether we're using AI to solve a simple production issue, whether we're using it for a health pattern recognition issue for chromosomes or genes or drugs, etc. Or maybe we're using it for an engineering problem of how to build a house, how to do this in a way that's going to be inexpensive, because in the AI world, we can model things without having to spend a large amount of money. And I think what trips people up in AI is not like you just flip it on and it just works. You've got to do some work. You've got to prompt it. And once you prompt it and you understand what the prompts are, you can get results, but it still has limitations. We know in the graphic world it still has a lot of challenges. So, ladies and gentlemen, whether we're talking about autonomous vehicles, and those are vehicles like the Waymo and robotaxi, where they drive without a live human being behind the wheel. Or we're talking about things like mini robots that can inspect the Hadron Collider. Or maybe being used in some of the biggest weather experiments. Or maybe being used in plants to manage and monitor data. I remember some of the videos they put out from Boston Dynamics. How the robot needs to be able to be agile. It needs to be able to gather data. And then it needs to be able to make a clear understanding. That's important to realize. And so, with that realization, we can come to maybe a clearer intersection of where we think things connect. Now, we might not know exactly how they're going to interface, but we'll have a better understanding of the ways the data can be shared. Vehicles. We also think about AI ethics, cyber risks, industrial strategy, technology. This is all reshaping our future in real time. And we also learned today something very important, like EasyPass and TikTok. It's not just where the company sits today, but we've got to protect the assets, whether they're digital, whether they're in the cloud, so that if something does change in life of ownership, that doesn't fall into bad actors or even people that are outside of our country that could be potentially foes of ours. You can always catch the full episodes, yes, and explore actionable insights, ladies and gentlemen, by visiting believemeachieve.com. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you realize AI is the future, but our ethics are the key to whether it'll be successful or not. Take care and be well, everyone.